Hey, what's up, dum-dums? You don't know shit, so I'm here to tell you about shit. Everything you need to know about Friday the 13th, the real stuff, the fake stuff. Most of it is bullshit. Speaking of bullshit, religion. Everybody says this comes from religion. The number 13 is found in many religions and is seen to be as lucky and unlucky depending on the context. However, this is all bullshit because it doesn't explain the Friday aspect of it. Number 2, the death card is number 13 in the tarot deck. That could explain some of the unlucky stuff. However, we're still not getting an explanation for the Friday part. Number 3, the Knights of the Templar. This is one of the most pervasive myths, and frankly, I have also made videos about that, thinking it was 100% true. It is true that the Knights of the Templar were rounded up in 1307, supposedly on Friday, October 13th. However, we do not know if that is for sure the case, and whether or not that would have passed down to people as being part of a superstition, because there is no evidence for this. The only evidence supported by this would be more conspiracy theory about the idea that the Knights of the Templar, the ones who escaped and didn't get murdered by the church, went to Scotland and started the Scottish Rite of the Freemason, which would later branch off into regular Freemasonry, which would have its most popular roots in the French culture of the 17 and 1800s. Of course, it's the fucking French. The first actual mention of Friday the 13th being a superstitious holiday comes from 1834 in the Paris Review. Quick asterisk, I do not know French, I will not learn French, and I do not plan on saying any of this stuff correctly. 1834, Marquis de Savoy wrote an article about a Sicilian count who murdered his daughter on Friday the 13th and said, "It's always Friday and always the 13th that brings bad luck." And that is the first actual literary mention of Friday the 13th being unlucky, with the Friday and the 13th together. Also in 1834, a French play, there's no way. Les Finesses de Gribouille. I was born Friday, December 13th, 1813, from which all misfortune comes. 1858, there were more plays with similar dialogue. In the 1880s, Americans began to mock the French for this superstition. But by 1899, this concept became so popular that it was adopted into some American culture. So it started off as mocking, became a part of our culture, much like a lot of the stuff that we do now. Nickelback is not a good band, but you guys are ironically bringing it back, and good for you. Why not? The world's burning down. Who gives a shit? Everything's burning down. I don't care if you like it when the guy goes, 1899, a Kansas City Journal reports that only 2 marriage licenses were given out on Friday the 13th, but the average is around 9 every Friday. And lastly, the reason why you actually know what this is in American culture is because in 1907, a novel was written called Friday the 13th by a guy named Thomas W. Lawson. There's also a silent film about it from 1916, and the story is a financial thriller about a man manipulating the stock market to make it crash on Friday the 13th. Thomas W. Lawson knew so much about this because he himself was a guy who was manipulating the stock market. It was much easier to do in the early 1900s. Still happens today, because why the fuck not? The book was so popular when it came out that brokers actually refused to trade the following day, which in a weird way caused stock markets to change, manipulated by this man's book. Anyway, I hope that helps. If it didn't, oh well, that's it. Get fucked.